Hello, this is Dr. King. Please feel free to call me Beth. I wanted to send out just a short video now that we're getting started with week 2 of the course and just say welcome. I'm really glad that you're here and give you just a few quick words and tips about this class in specific. I know the majority of you have been taking 6 credits along with working towards completing your O&P. So I know that your schedules are very busy and you have worked very, very hard for the month of June. So in designing this course, based on the situation of both EdPsych and EdPsych and pluralism being scheduled on top of each other, I made a ton of modifications, and I've scaled back this course to that which is only essential. And so what we're going to be doing in here is going to be very practical, and the assignments that I'm going to ask you to do are what's required for the Ed Foundations portfolio. And again, I want to remind you that that portfolio is not a tangible document. It's a collection of assignments, and that's the work that we're going to be doing in this course. So there are going to be very few assignments in this course, but they're going to count significantly. So what I have up in the background here for the video is the course calendar, and you can find that looking through, if you go to pages, you can pull up course calendar, or if you go to home and you scroll down, you'll see, please read course calendar, guide to content, and due dates for the course. You just click on that, which I see still needs to be published. I'm sorry, I'm learning Canvas and I forget to publish things and it causes all sorts of problems. I apologize, but it is now published and live, so this should be a great help for you. So we are in this time frame right here between June 23rd and June 30th. What I'm going to be asking you to do, now that we've completed this Module 1 Best Teachers Online Discussion, and I'm going to delete this right here, this second one. You guys have had enough to do, and that's just simply busy work. So I'm going to have you read the assignment for the context of learning assignment, and this is something that you'll be completing in your O&P. And then I'm going to have you read the philosophy of education instructions. And I want you to note that these assignments are due, the context of learning is due July 10th. The philosophy of education paper is due on July 17th. So you're going to be reading these through and really working to understand what's going to be required of you and what you need to do. Now, we're going to be moving into July 1 through 6 here very quick. And so the work for that is going to be getting some background information to be working on your philosophy of education paper. So if we go into Module 2, right here, you'll see Module 2 is open for you. And the module here is thinking about education. And a lot of faculty, when they teach this course and they're trying to get you to do your philosophy of education, they assign a lot of readings, and you know they're really great readings, and they give you a wonderful perspective, and they're fabulous, and you know that's a great way to teach this content. I do things a little bit differently, and what I like to have you consider are some contemporary perspectives on education. And so some of the TED Talks that I'm going to ask you to watch, you may have already seen, some of them you may have already heard about, but by and large, the topics that you're going to be coming in contact with when you go through the different videos that you can choose from, these are all very contemporary issues, and they're topics that you're going to be hearing a lot about once you get into the classroom. And, you know, some of you may already be right smack dab in the middle of considering some of these issues and challenges. So the purpose here is to broaden your perspective on what we're talking about in the field of education right now and what perspectives are out there. So if you click on the Thinking About Education link, you'll see that I've got a description of what sort of mindset you should go into this assignment with. So please read through this. You click the next button, and here is a collection of award-winning teachers. They're very, very short, what's referred to as fire hose talks. And if you just simply grab this playlist and let it run in the background while you're doing stuff, I think you're going to find a lot of motivation and some really great perspectives from, like I said, award-winning teachers. Go through the next button here, and this will walk you through what I'm looking for in this module. So as I said, I've compiled a collection of TED Talks for you that I want you to really explore and pick and choose 5 that you want to really think about as you're listening to. So I've got 2 places where you can find that information. The first one is here, and this is a Google site that I've created for you. So if you click this, here it is. And this is not in the current Google Sites format, but it's in Google Sites Classic, the one that I prefer. Anyways, the collection of videos that I would like you to access as one of the places that I've stored these, you can find right here. Now, this whole section here, this is where I store my collection of videos that I use throughout the variety of courses that I teach. So please feel free to go through and take a look at, for example, the Ed Psych videos I've got here. There's also pluralism videos, information on innovative schools and teaching, all sorts of stuff that may be of interest to you, along with methods and things like that. But what I want you to do is focus on this section right here. And notice it says Philosophy of Education, Big Thinkers in Education videos start here. And then it says Philosophy videos end here. So it is within this section here that you can use as one area that I've stored some resources for you. And so you may choose from any of these. And, you know, go through, listen to a couple, see what you connect with. And if you connect with it, you know, pursue it further. In addition, I've also posted some TED Talks that you can use here in this module. So you'll see those when I hit the back button a couple of times, and then we see the module open here. You'll see these blue links. These are all TED Talks that you can choose from as well. So any of those on the Google site in that area that I've specified, or these, you can choose from. So what should you do with these TED Talks? Well, what I'm going to have you do is here, let's go back one. So what I'm going to have you do is, like I said, I'm going to have you select 5, and I want you to listen to them. You don't even really have to watch them, but listen to them, and then I want you to think about them. The thinking is the most important part. I'm going to ask you to take notes on these, and I've got a form that you'll use to fill that out, and to guide your thinking. But the thinking is the most important part of this assignment. So let's say the TED Talk is 20 minutes long. I want you to spend at least 15 minutes stopping what you're doing and actually thinking about what was said in the video, what you thought about it, how that fits with your current thinking about education or the role of teaching or the role of students or role of technology, or whatever the topic is about. How does it fit with your current thinking? Do you accept or reject what the presenter is trying to encourage you to think about? What do you think are the major points that the presenter is trying to make? And how do they do it? What evidence do they use, or what talking points do they pursue in order to encourage you to consider their perspective? So those are the kinds of questions that I want you to be pulling out and spending some time thinking about. As you move forward in preparing yourself to become a professional educator, it's less about direct recall of content that you're being exposed to, and more about reflecting on that content and thinking, really spending time trying to understand the perspective of the presenter. And in doing so, you also need to know something about the presenter. So most of the time when my students are assigned an article to read or a video to watch, they just do it. Or they don't. Actually, statistics say 60% of all assignments aren't completed, or reading assignments aren't completed, but that's neither here nor there. If I assign an assignment for students to read an article, they just read it. They never spend any time taking a look at who that actual author is. I mean, for all you know, I could be grabbing somebody who's absolutely crazy and throwing a bunch of really weird ideas in front of you that have no acceptance within education. Now, of course we don't do that because we can get in trouble, and, professionalism requires that we don't. But you should understand who these authors are, or who these presenters are. You should know how they've been prepared. Do they actually have any expertise in the topic that they're talking on? And these are TED Talks. So you should do a little bit of research and know who these people are. In addition, we all have bias. We all have perspectives that we're trying to encourage our audience to consider. And every single time you access a TED Talk or any sort of media, you should be actively engaging with that content and thinking about what is that presenter trying to encourage you to consider, and what is their background, what is their bias. And so the notes section does encourage you to do additional research on the presenters. And because I know you guys are very busy and you have a lot on your plates, I've learned that just assigning these TED Talks and having you do it without having any accountability measures, it just doesn't work. So there is a form that you'll be completing, and you'll complete a form on each one of the 5 videos that you have selected, and I grade these based on how thorough you've communicated your actual thinking about the video. Yes, it's important for you to take some notes and so you have recall about the content, but what I'm really looking for here, as I said and as I've stressed, I'm looking for your thinking. And if you have a positive opinion about what the author is or what the presenter is saying, you're going to need to make sure you write down some points about how does that author go about supporting their perspectives. It's not enough for you to say, hey, I really enjoyed this, or hey, I really like this guy's ideas. You need to be able to specify which ideas you liked, why you liked them, and why you think those ideas are credible. I hope that makes sense. So that's the work that I'm asking you to do this week. I know that this week that we're coming up into is the 4th of July. So I'm assigning this along with you becoming familiar with the Philosophy of Education paper and the Context of Learning paper. There will be no online discussions. I simply want you to be able to take this week and structure your workload around family and other activities that you may have going, and do the work at a time that best meets your schedule and best meets your needs. So I hope that helps, and I hope that clarifies what we're going to be doing this week. If you have any questions or are unclear about anything, please feel free to email me. I typically answer email in the evening. I try not to work through my email in the morning. So if I don't respond to you and you send me an email, you know, 8 a.m., and I don't respond to you that following evening, don't be afraid to resend the email. That's a really good way to make sure that you're managing the stream of communication. So if you need to resend an email to me, or you know, really any of your professors or the people that you deal with, just simply write resend in the subject line along with the previous subject, and then it tends to, you know, move right to the top of our inbox, and that way you can get your question answered sooner. So I hope things are going very well for you in O&P. I've asked you to complete a form updating me on your progress. I see that almost all of you have done that. I did give points to those students who completed that assignment this past week. And yeah, so if you haven't done it, please do it so I can see how things are going, and I really want to make sure that you aren't having any problems. So, as I said, I hope things are going well. Email me if you need any help, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts on the TED Talks that are assigned. Have a great week.